It's the royal move no one expected, swift, strategic, and loud. According to widespread reports, the Crown has officially reclaimed all remaining UK properties linked to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Did you see my baby mama dance?
I mean, stop it. First of all, can I just tell you, the timing of that, we maybe watched it like 20 times yesterday, and I was like, is that her?
Oh my God.
Is that Prince Harry there with the fingers and the, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, by the way, that wasn't yesterday.
No,
that was 4 years ago. So it's also a really great reminder that with all the noise or whatever people do, there's still a whole life, a real, authentic, fun life that's happening behind the scenes. I'm just grateful that now, being back on social as well, I have a place where I can share it on my own terms.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great. It's so authentic, isn't it?
This stunning development follows alleged discoveries of offshore accounts connected to their former ventures, raising eyebrows across the monarchy and beyond. Insiders say the couple was caught completely off guard. With assets frozen, legal reviews underway, and questions swirling about their financial legacy, one thing is clear. The royal family isn't just closing the door, they're bolting it shut. In what royal commentators are calling a decisive turning point, the Crown has reportedly moved to reclaim every UK-based property associated with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The process, though shrouded in quiet legal protocol, sent shockwaves across the monarchy's inner circle and beyond.
So much fun.
You and I are so similar. You and I...
With your guests, when was the last time you were surprised and delighted?
Last night, and also this morning, but last night when I went back to my hotel, and then you put your thumbprint in, which is what makes it a fun group activity, and you could fill it with jam, you could do chocolate, anything you like, of course.
Hey, lowly cameraman, come over here and try some fried chicken. Try the fried chicken. Try the fried chicken. We need to make it look like I actually care about my camera crew. Come get some fried chicken. Act like you're having fun. Act like you're having fun.
What matters is what we have on the inside.
At the center of this decision is Frogmore Cottage, the Windsor residence once gifted to the couple by Queen Elizabeth II herself. The same residence that underwent a £2.4 million taxpayer-funded renovation, repayment of which became a major point of contention after the couple stepped down. That property, along with other lesser-known addresses tied to Sussex-aligned trusts and LLCs, have now been reclassified under formal Crown control, according to leaked registry updates and insider confirmations.
This woman is a born manipulator. The Netflix thing, she doesn't do the work. She doesn't make the jams. It's all made for her.
Before we even get to the main event.
When the stakes are this high, doesn't it make more sense to hear our story from us?
Oh, shut up. What do you mean the stakes are this high? Who do you think you are? Other than a latte-munching imbecile.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard.
She talks like she's a one-woman band. That is not hard work. Hard work is get up in the morning, get to 7 o'clock, get into a factory or a shop and working for 10 hours on your feet, coming home knackered. That's not what happens to her.
And still being a mom.
That is
still
not
being
what
a
happens to
mom.
her.
Observers note the move was not loud or theatrical, but cold and clear. A senior royal aide allegedly called it a quiet closure of unfinished business. In place of press releases were legal documents. In place of farewell ceremonies were sealed property records and lock changes. To the Sussex's supporters, these homes symbolized continuity.
Proud to, if you excuse the massive book deals, the Silicon Valley startups, the preaching videos about well-being, the podcasts, the speeches, and the major network interviews with everyone from Oprah Winfrey to James Corden. But they've barely been seen or heard at all, have they? Well, on Thursday, they'll quietly and apologetically release their $100 million.
I want my home to feel welcoming. Do you feel welcome? Does my soundstage welcome you? Mindy and I are such great friends, like besties. Like, I love her. Like, she doesn't know my name, but we're best friends.
It's about an hour-long cab ride. Never seen as grandchildren. This show is packed with the kind of spurious claims and hypocrisy that have become the Sussex signature. We learned they began making videos about their heroic journey 6 months before their Netflix deal was even announced, and right at the start of a pandemic that was killing.
There's a real delight in being able to be a present parent, and it's a luxury sometimes because we all have to work. We all have a lot of stuff to do, but when you can take a minute to just...
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
It's
and
so
loves
funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now.
Some tethered to Harry's heritage, a space that remained theirs in the UK. But to the firm, they represented unresolved tension. And now, their history. What's more, the timing raised questions. Why now? Why so swiftly? Insiders say it wasn't about property. It was about positioning. The Crown, after years of playing defense, had just gone on offense. And as we'd soon find out, it may have been triggered by something far more sensitive than square footage.
This series, and they'll believe it. They'll believe the smears about Britain and our monarchy, that we're a bunch of bigoted and hateful people. They even blamed Brexit for the racism which apparently was aimed at Meghan Markle, which is just completely absurd. But by far the most sickening part of this show for me was the constant use of Harry's...
This also follows all the stories about her bullying staff over here in the UK, which is unresolved. NDAs stopped all that stuff coming out, but she bullied people in a very unpleasant way over here.
Hello all, sorry we're late, our flight was delayed.
It was mint though. Tell them we were in mint.
They gave you a mint. How lovely. I have some gum in my purse if you'd like.
Oh, we were in mint. It's like their business class. It's really nice. And
Meghan, I'm begging you to stop now.
Just days after the property seizures made headlines, the media narrative shifted, and fast. Whispers from inside both the palace and associated financial networks pointed to one word: accounts. Specifically, offshore accounts. These were not personal checking accounts or family trusts. They were, according to media outlets, financial structures tied to Sussex-related branding ventures, production companies, nonprofits, and shell corporations that operated across multiple jurisdictions, including the Cayman Islands, Switzerland, and Guernsey. Now, let's be clear, there is nothing inherently illegal about having offshore entities.
Harry and Meghan are the problem. And while we're going to go over all the people that they've hired, just as a great reminder, the couple have hired plenty of professionals before. People at high levels who have worked for Bill Gates, Patagonia, all these sorts of things. And yet none of them have been successful. The common denominator in everything here is Harry and Meghan.
Many public figures and business leaders use them for tax efficiency, privacy, and international transactions. But according to several financial correspondents, what concerned internal auditors wasn't the existence of these accounts, but the opacity of their transactions. Sources familiar with the matter say inconsistencies in the timing of revenue declarations, donations tied to public-facing projects, and the classification of certain operational expenses raised flags. Some reports allege that funds generated from Sussex-branded content, including documentary licensing, podcast sponsorships, and private speaking engagements, may have passed through these accounts in ways that bypassed formal UK declarations tied to their prior working royal status. Again, there are no confirmed legal accusations.
Hours of this Netflix series paint a very different, far uglier picture of this country and our royal family.
Zoom in here and it says, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. That is a title that was stripped from her when she and Harry made their whole racism debacle and left the UK, left their royal duties, and moved to the US to bug all of us.
The only thing HRH stands for in association with Meghan Markle is her ruthless homewreckerness.
No investigations have been made public, but inside the Crown's advisory board, the optics were reportedly enough. One advisor was quoted saying, "When clarity disappears, confidence follows." It's this alleged lack of financial clarity, coupled with the increased scrutiny of the couple's evolving public brand, that many believe led the palace to pull the plug on their real estate holdings. Not as punishment, but as preservation. When money and monarchy overlap, perception is reality. Inside Montecito, the reaction was anything but composed. Sources close to the Sussexes say the news of the property seizure arrived like a thunderclap. What was expected to be a slow fade from relevance had transformed into a sharp and sudden reminder that the Crown, despite its distance, still holds leverage and isn't afraid to use it. According to insiders, Meghan was the first to break. During a video call with legal and brand advisors, she reportedly became overwhelmed, asking aloud whether this is how they want to erase us. One aide described her as shaken, but still trying to manage optics. The call was abruptly ended with advisors returning hours later for damage control prep. Harry, on the other hand, reportedly shut down. Those closest to him say he canceled several private calls, withdrew from scheduled media prep, and spent much of the week offline. An insider described him as visibly hollowed out, noting that he felt the move wasn't just bureaucratic, it was personal. And then came the alleged draft. A joint statement was reportedly written behind the scenes, meant to address the Crown's actions and respond with a measured but firm tone. But that statement, according to multiple sources, was ultimately scrapped.
Why?
Some said it was too emotional. Others feared it would escalate tensions. Instead, the couple said nothing publicly, but their absence spoke volumes. Media appearances were postponed. Scheduled events were quietly pulled from PR calendars. Even social media, typically a tool for narrative control, went silent. For a brand built on voice, silence was deafening. Because in that moment, for the first time since their departure in 2020, it appeared the Sussexes weren't just out of alignment with the palace. They were out of options. To outsiders, the Crown's decision to reclaim Harry and Meghan's UK properties may have seemed abrupt, but palace insiders insist it was anything but. According to sources close to royal operations, the move was the result of months, if not years, of quiet deliberation. Advisors had long debated the optics of allowing the Sussexes to retain royal-linked residences while simultaneously operating as independent public figures with multi-million-dollar media deals and private speaking circuits. The tipping point, they say, was consistency. A growing faction within the King's advisory team reportedly pressed for what one source called a principled precedent. The argument? If the monarchy is to survive modern scrutiny, its privileges must match its responsibilities. And in this case, holding on to royal residences while being untethered from royal protocol was increasingly seen as contradictory. One palace aide allegedly put it bluntly, "You can't hold the keys to the estate if you've stopped attending the family meetings." That's where the strategy emerged. Rather than a public showdown, the Crown opted for quiet authority, a slow, unannounced reclassification of property titles, removal of staff assignments, and discreet lock changes. The aim wasn't to punish. It was to clarify. Even among neutral commentators, the phrase that keeps circulating is, "The Crown didn't just reclaim real estate. It reclaimed control." Still, not everyone is convinced the timing was coincidence. The property decision came within days of financial reports raising questions about Sussex-related offshore accounts and corporate structures. While the palace has offered no direct link between the two, the juxtaposition has drawn speculation. Intentional or not, the message was clear. The Crown moves on its own schedule. And when it decides to act, it doesn't whisper. It strikes. Across media outlets, editorial boards, and influencer feeds, the response to the Crown's property decision was electric. UK-based broadcasters took a largely measured tone, pointing to tradition, protocol, and the importance of consistency within the monarchy. But in the US, where Harry and Meghan have found their most vocal base, the reaction was more polarized. Some outlets framed the Crown's move as a quiet act of retaliation, while others praised it as long overdue. Headlines from Los Angeles to Sydney were filled with terms like reset, reclaiming control, and royal line in the sand. On social media, the conversation became a battlefield. Hashtags like #RoyalReset, #SussexReclaim, #SlushOrStrategy, and #PropertyPowerPlay began trending within hours. TikTok creators uploaded elaborate timelines piecing together the connection between the property notices, the offshore account rumors, and the couple's silence. Many focused on what wasn't being said, highlighting the absence of a Sussex response, and analyzing the implications of their digital quiet. Meanwhile, YouTube channels across the spectrum ran deep-dive videos comparing property deeds, breaking down financial filings, and speculating about what this could mean for the couple's future branding. Even neutral royal-watching forums were flooded with comments. Some fans decried the move as a soft exile. Others said it was time. One user wrote, "If they chose independence, this is the cost. You don't get to cash the Crown's checks and then close the door." But one thing united both sides of the divide: confusion. Because even now, The couple has offered no formal statement, no official rebuttal, and no interview clarifying their position. The silence is strategic, but dangerous. In a vacuum, interpretation becomes fact. And the longer they wait, the more that narrative drifts out of their control. At present, no legal action has been filed against Harry or Meghan regarding the financial speculation. But that doesn't mean their team isn't moving swiftly behind the scenes. According to industry insiders, the couple's legal advisors have initiated standard internal reviews, a precautionary step taken by most public figures when facing questions around transparency or financial optics. These reviews likely involve cross-checking corporate entities, verifying partnership agreements, and ensuring alignment between brand obligations and recent headlines. While no wrongdoing has been established, perception in the public domain is a different beast entirely. Multiple marketing experts have pointed out that high-profile brand deals often contain public image clauses, which allow companies to reconsider or renegotiate contracts if public trust in their spokesperson begins to erode. One international cosmetics partner, according to an anonymous executive quoted in Adweek, is currently in monitoring mode, assessing sentiment before making any decisions. This isn't scandal, but it is sensitivity. For the Sussex brand, built on authenticity, vulnerability, and relatability, headlines linking them to offshore accounts and royal property disputes can cast long shadows. And while legal risk may be minimal, brand equity could be more fragile than anticipated. As one strategist noted, in today's landscape, you don't need to be guilty to lose momentum. You just need to lose the narrative. And right now, the narrative is slipping. If this moment marks a turning point, it won't be because of lost houses or audit memos. It'll be because of what it symbolizes. The Sussex brand was always built on the idea of independence, but also authenticity, transparency, trust. Now, with homes reclaimed and financial whispers swirling, that brand faces its greatest challenge to date. They haven't been cut off. They've been cut out. And unless they take back the narrative soon, their story may be rewritten for them, by tabloids, by critics, and even by the institution they tried to escape. So, let's review. The Crown has allegedly reclaimed all remaining UK properties linked to Harry and Meghan, symbolically severing their last royal ties. At the same time, internal auditors have reportedly flagged questions around offshore accounts tied to their ventures. While nothing illegal has been proven, the optics alone have rattled their public standing. The couple, caught off guard, are said to be regrouping, emotionally and strategically. But this is more than real estate, more than accounting. This is about trust, brand, legacy. The Crown moved quickly. The Sussexes went quiet. And the world is left asking, is this the final curtain, or just the quiet before the next chapter?